was like jumping from meeting to meeting. I'm meeting with my team, I'm meeting with my clients, I'm meeting. I was just everywhere. My head was full. My head was full. I was breaking. Like my head was, I was breaking down. The easier your business is, the better it is. When a business is too complex, you are creating problems. And my friend had just come back from Abuja. She was like, Kita, how are you? And I just started crying. And I just cried. I cried, cried, cried. I couldn't even stop myself from because I didn't really understand how long it would take to train somebody and get them to be as good as I am. I spent too long planning. We could have compressed that time and just gotten into execution fast. Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if you're new here, I'm Kita. I'm a marketer and I run a marketing agency. Also, I'm a coach. I'm a marketing coach and consultant. I pretty much do everything in between money, self-development, and marketing for content. So I create content around these topics. Anyways, today we're going to be doing like a year in review of 2025. I'm going to be sharing my top mistakes with you. And I made a lot of mistakes this year, so let's get into it. You guys, let me even start by saying that this was supposed to be a live stream, right? I was going to do a live stream the night before, and I network was terrible. Like it was so bad. So I was like, okay, let's just like make a video. Let's talk about this stuff because we need to talk about this stuff. Anyways, it's a couple days from Christmas, a couple days from New Year, but I'm not going home for Christmas this year. I'm going to be going home for New Year because my family is not home yet. Everybody is up and about. So I think I've been yapping a lot. Let's just get into what I have to share today. So one of the major mistakes I made last year, and before I even sorry for the detour again, before I even get into the mistakes I made, I thought it would be nice for me to give like context to all of this, right? So I run two businesses. Keep that in mind. Two businesses. I have Kita Vibes, which was an accidental business that pretty much took off, right? Kita Vibes is my coaching and consulting business, and then I have Kitarific. Now, Kitarific is my marketing agency. So I started like getting serious about the marketing agency last year, around this time last year, say like September, October, November, December. So I'm going to explain, the timelines and break it down for you guys so you guys understand what happened within the last 1 year. So so Kitarific, Kita Vibes. Now Kita Vibes was doing pretty well. I think we were doing about 15, 20 million a year as our last year. Right. Kitarific on the other hand was not making any serious money yet, right? So for context, I started out as a web designer, like a writer, copywriter, email marketer, web designer sort of situation. And then I got online and started teaching that as courses and consulting for business owners. So that's what Kita Vibes is about. So now I decided to like get serious with the agency and try to create some interesting offers, right? Which is where we're not going to get into the top mistakes that I made. I thought this video would be important, at least for people who are thinking of starting an agency or selling offers, service based offers, really. I think you learn a lot from this particular video. Alright, so the first mistake I made was I spent too long planning. I think we took about 3 months planning the offer. Then we created this very complex offer. Look, my brain is a bit. I like difficult things, right? In business, I don't think that is a good thing, as I learned throughout this year. I think that that taking too long to plan everything and complicating things is something you want to avoid if you're trying to build a business next year in any capacity. The easier your business is, the better it is. When a business is too complex, you are creating problems because naturally businesses get more complex as they grow, right? So you probably want to do something that is simple to do, but do it excellently, right? Something that is complex, involves too many moving parts, which was the offer that we're selling, right? There's a video before. It's not. I'm going to as we go on, shall be dropping some of the other things, right? Any business that is a bit too complex and involves too many moving parts, you are going to have issues. You are going to have issues because when it's time to scale, when it's time to grow the business, you're sure going to have problem. Personally, I just feel like I spent too long planning. We could have compressed that time and just gotten into execution fast, tested the ideas, tested the offers, and probably avoided a lot of the mistakes we made this year. So second mistake I made was that I worked with too many interns. If I could go back, I probably wouldn't work with as many interns. But the thing is that the things you don't know them. Okay, the things you don't know them. Of course, I felt like I needed more help, more hands. But instead of hiring interns, I think if I could go back, I'll just hire professionals, right? The thing about hiring interns, so to say, is that you need to train them, which wasn't something I was thinking about at the time. I didn't understand as I've always trained people, so I didn't really understand how long it would take to train somebody and get them to be as good as I am, right? Let me just tell you, it's around like 6 to 8 months for somebody to get decently good. So it's better to just pay somebody that is already really good. You compress 6 months. That means you're saving 6 months of time. Me, I was thinking about saving money, right? Instead of thinking about saving time. So I believe try to save try to save time, not money. That's the lesson I picked out here. Try to save time with no more. And also, you probably don't want to work with more than two interns at a time because they are all reporting, especially if they are all going to be reporting back to you, you're going to have issues. You are going to be spending a lot of time and a lot of mental energy dealing with like very low quality problems. Okay, and as a business owner, you still need to have space in your mind to interact with the clients, um interact with the clients, sales and all of that. So there are a lot of moving parts, and I believe this particular mistake, it was a huge one. So if I was going to start again, I guess one of the things I wouldn't do is hire interns. I'll just look for people who are extremely good. Maybe even just a team of 3 or 4 extremely competent people is a lot better than a team of 10, 12 with people who are not so good. You're going to struggle. So, okay, I already talked about the fact that I created a complex business model, but that's supposed to be my number. The offer that we created made a lot of sense, right? It was a very stacked offer, but that was the problem. It was a very stacked offer. It involved a lot of moving parts, and it took us about 3 months to complete, um, the offer in such a way that people start to get results. One mistake I think I made was that we probably should have done it in such a way that people can start getting results in like 1 month. So one thing I believe most people are not that patient. They are not that patient. They want to see results quick, especially clients. They want to see results quickly. They want to make their money fast. So I probably wouldn't do something that complex in the future. I wouldn't pour in like 3 months into something before we start. I'll try to work on people getting results, at least meaningful results within 1 month. So the offer will be built around getting people results quickly, at least within the first month, and then trying to upsell them into a better offer, something like that. But instead of just like merging all the offers into one single offer, I would work on breaking it down in such a way that we are selling an initial solution, and if they get results from that first part of the solution, then we can upsell them into a more detailed offer. Something like that. I think that was a mistake that I made. Yeah. Okay. So fourth mistake I made, and this is on the agency side of the business. So if you are thinking about building an agency, that this is me just giving you great tips, I guess. So yeah. The fourth mistake I made was that the business didn't have cash flow baked into it. Now remember I said that the model was very complex. It was a rev share model. Rev share plus like an initial upfront payment. So now the thing was, yeah, they're giving us money to start, right? But we're doing so many things within the 3 months process. Mostly what we're doing was we're creating courses for people and helping them through the process of like marketing the courses and selling the courses. We're involved from the beginning to the end, right? So um like I mentioned, they're paying us upfront, and then once they start selling, we're going to be getting revenue share on it. But the thing is cash flow. Okay. One thing you will learn as a business owner is that cash is extremely important. You need to have cash at hand because you probably need to pay salaries, you need to cover software expenses in my own case, you need to cover there's just a lot of running costs, cost of running the business, data cost and such and such and such. But now the problem with the Kitarific business in quotes was that we didn't have enough cash, right? Because we're collecting money upfront, right? And then so it's taking us about uh 3 months to finish the project. Now, even I think if I could go back, I would have worked out the economics of like the pricing also had issues, right? Not only did the offer have issues, like I mentioned, that we just stacked too many things into it, the pricing also had issues. We should have I should have done like calculated the economics to understand how much the pricing should have been. Technically I kind of knew how much it should have been, but I was like, oh, we need to get clients right now. So let us try to figure out a way to make this thing work, before we start getting uh before we start pricing at the price that is supposed to be. So yeah, if I could go back, no, we wouldn't have done that. We would have collected enough money to see the entire project through, right? And also have built something for cash flow so that that business makes money as we like, so we have something that brings in money daily. um the way to look at it is, if you collect a lot of money upfront, it still might not be enough to cover the months of you not spending, right? So it makes sense to have other offers within the business that can make money fast. So the way I'll think about it is, we probably should have created like simple, easy to market and easy to deliver offers, like things that you can deliver easily without having to exchange time. If you are thinking of an agency kind of business, it's more or less, agency model is more or less a luxury sort of business model. Let me just put it that way. It's for you cannot afford to sell it to regular people. That's another mistake I'm going to explain later. So like I was saying, you have to make sure that there are offers that you can sell easily, right? So that cash keeps coming into the business, so you keep having money within the business. So a good way I would think about that was, would have had other low ticket offers. Well, at the time, my point of view was, if we start taking other low ticket offers, this was my point of view at the time. Right now, I stand to be corrected. Um, would be distracted from executing on the bigger offers. Now that I think about it, I think it was dumb, right? I think we should have worked on getting like lower ticket offers. I think we should have worked on getting like lower ticket offers so that cash would have been in the business, and so we have money to keep, pushing out stuff. Because once cash finishes within a business, you're fucked. You're in trouble, right? So that's the mistake I think we made. Now, This is another mistake that we made, and I believe this mistake is even a lot more okay. So this mistake is client business fit, right? Making sure that we have the same values with the clients we're hiring. If you're going to build an agency, let me tell you, you have to be strict. You have to be strict. You have to have your contracts in place, and you have to make sure that you fit, like, you and your clients, you have the same value, you see things the same way, you align on the fundamentals, right? um what do I mean by that? I think the easiest way to explain this is um uh I'm trying to think of a way to explain this, but really you guys have to align on the sort of results that's what you would both consider good results, right? What you'd both consider bad results. Pain tolerance, how long you can how do I put this, how long you can wait, right? um if things are not exactly going as fast as you'd expect them to be. uh yeah, and basically I think the biggest part of it would be trust in the process, right? So I guess the process of you picking your client, you have to be extremely choosy, extremely picky, right? In terms of like getting a client, and picking your client, because you can't have a lot of clients. Like, I'm not saying you can't have a lot of clients. Like, if you're building an agency, um you cannot kind of work with too many people at the same time, unless you have like that's a very very large team, right? Which is also a problem and a headache on its own. So you kind of need to work with people that align with you, people that you guys have the same value, like you value the same thing in business, right? So basically, that's the best way I can explain it. Now, another thing I mistake I think I made was I wrote here shaky business foundation because I was in the hurry. What was I thinking? Yeah. Now, this is for Kita vibes. At the time, I thought, okay, we had like a solid process or a solid system, but for Kita vibes, I was working with assistants for the business. The business does not need like too many people like that, sha. So I had assistants for the business. But the thing was, all the processes were not exactly documented. So my assistant left at some point. She had to go to NYC. And that was when I discovered some of the broken parts of the business. Right. So the systems were not well documented, and I was about to scale it. So I started having issues. In fact, at that point I fell sick because it was too much traffic, too many messages. I couldn't handle all the messages. And at the same time, I'm still a freelancer. Like, I still have like my whole Upwork account where I do web design. So I was juggling so many things. I was leading this and that mistake. Oh. I was leading the team at the agency. I had my coaching and consulting business, and I also had my freelance business. So this was like, I just felt overwhelmed. I could not even just, so I felt sick. So while I was sick, I lost a couple of projects on Upwork, right? Which affected my Upwork account. We're going to talk about that. Anyways, I'll say the business foundation was not very solid, right? So things were not very documented, things were not easy to access. I did not automate properly. This was just very shaky. So I had to, which I'll talk about later in this video, but I had to slow down and rebuild those systems again slowly, right? Because I'm a good marketer, I'm a good salesperson, so it's easy for me to sell stuff. But the problem is that when you're good at selling things, you also have to think about fulfilling those things and the process of fulfilling them, right? Which all of that is operations. So as a marketer, if you're not good with operations, you are just going to have issues, right? I'm good at sales, I'm good at marketing, but I wasn't very good at operations, which I had to learn by force this year. So this is another significant mistake that I made. I'm not going to be. I'm as I'm recording this. I'm just reminding myself, yeah, you're not going to be making this mistake again. So this is spending money from one business on another business. This was a very costly mistake. It was after I'd done it, and then I told my mom. My mom studied business administration in uni. So I told my mom, "Oh, this is what I did within the business." She was like, "Did you document like how you moved the money from?" Because I was moving money from Kita Vibes to Kitarific. Mom was like, "Did you document how much Kitarific is owing Kita Vibes?" I was like, so I had to at some point now start calculating how much Kita Vibes had sent over to Kitarific to keep operations at Kitarific running. I mentioned it earlier that we Kitarific was making money like upfront and then rev share. Right. But it takes us about 3 months to get to the point where we can do the rev share. So now, um, in between those 3 months, the business needs to keep running. So I was using Upwork and using Kita Vibes to substitute, you know, the running cost for the agency because we had maxed out. We could not take in any more clients. Sure, we could sell out we could sell out the offers, right? But I could sell, right? I could market, but the problem was still there that we could not we could not take in any more clients without breaking down the business completely. So that was a real issue. Um, so I was moving money between the businesses. I was sending money from Kita Vibes to Kita Refi, which was a very big problem for Kita Vibes, right? Because now, the money for Kita Vibes that was supposed to scale Kita Vibes was busy working in Kita Refi. So Kita Vibes was slow and stagnant. This is a mistake you don't want to make. Like if you always get that urge to start a second business or start a third business or start a fourth, please abandon. It's a bad idea. And personally, me, I even knew it was about because my mentor told me that this is bullshit. Don't do it. So I was like, ITK, ITK. Don't do it. If you are right now thinking, I'm going to have like 3, 4, 5 businesses, bro, just put all the energy within your one business and scale that one business to the max. Okay, that's why I think that at least that is what I think. You have like systems within that one business. Now, me, I thought, okay, Kita Vibes systems made a lot of sense, like it was working. No, it wasn't. Okay, it was like patch, and I was like, yeah, the systems are great. I'm good at marketing. I'm good at sales. Everything is okay. Everything is Gucci. No, everything was not Gucci. Everything was Abba. That's a bad. I'm sorry, but like you get what I'm saying now. Everything was not Gucci at all. Oh. Everything was not Gucci at all. So yeah. This is mistake number. Should be mistake number 8. So I spread myself too thin. Now, if you look at everything I mentioned, this is a bunch of work, right? And when I talk about how much we're doing a lot of work at the same time. My head I was like jumping from meeting to meeting. I'm meeting with my team. I'm meeting with my clients. I'm meeting. I was just everywhere. My head was full. My head was full. I was breaking. Like my head was. I was breaking down. I was breaking down a lot, right? So it just wasn't working. It wasn't working at all. And I was just like, how did I even get here? Like, I even went on vacation. Even during the vacation, I was still stressed because, Shay, you want to remove the problems. How do you even remove when the entire business is running in your head? You're like, if I don't get my sheets together, there's going to be real consequences, right? And a lot of people are depending on me and everything. So I was like, bro, this is serious. So I was spread thin. I was burning out. Like I was falling sick. I start feeling fine. I'll fall sick again. Start feeling fine. I don't think I've fallen the way I felt sick this year. It was insane. I felt sick a lot. So yeah, that was another mistake I made. Now this is mistake number, I think mistake number 8, number 9. Yeah, selling a luxury offer at a regular price. I believe this is the beginning of the problem for Kitarific, and we already made this mistake from the beginning. So more or less, we're already in trouble. Like from the beginning of that business, we had already been in trouble because we did, the way we set up the offer was, it was not good for us. So yeah, there's nothing more to, don't do it, right? Make sure that you are selling probably times two, at least times three of what it costs for you to run the offer, right? So let's say that the entire thing is going to cost you 1 million. You probably should sell it at 3 million, right? Or sell it at like 4 million. That's like the only sensible way to do it. So if you're going to build an agency, you need to know that it is a whole ass luxury business. You should only work with people that can afford it like 20 times over. I say if your offer is going to be like a 3 million naira offer, you're looking at people that can afford to pay 9 to 20 million for that thing. Do you get what I'm saying? So you cast your gaze up. Do you get what I'm saying? You probably don't want to sell to people that can afford it a bit. You want to sell to people that can afford it a lot, and you are going to actually be saving them time. And final mistake I have here is not having strong systems, which I've talked about. And when you think of strong systems, it's just looking at the way that you do things and whether they are easy to replicate and how fast they are to replicate, right? So you can have other people help you. The thing about building a business is that as you grow, it becomes more complex, like I mentioned. And so you're going to need extra hands. The problem is that the more people that you get on board, the more reporting. There needs to be like a back and forth, right? So now it's, you start having like communication issues. You start having communication issues. Things don't get done fast. Things don't get done fast. You start having problems, with the clients. So there's just a lot of back and forth, right? But if everything is documented properly and each stage is documented properly, you know what is next. On some fronts in this part, we did try our best, but I'm not going to lie to you. If you're going to build an agency, which I was telling somebody that reached out to me, I said an agency business is less, actually becomes like marketing. Even if it's like a design agency, it's less design, less marketing, more operations, right? More how can things get done faster, more how can you simplify the process of getting things done. It's not even about doing the thing itself, right? It's about the how much time can you save doing it, how what is like your process of doing it in such a way that it is solid and in such a way that the results are like top tier results. So anyways, these were some of the mistakes I think that I made this year in business, and I mean I learned a lot. I mean look at the quality of advice I'm giving you now. High quality advice. I learned a lot. I also cried a lot. I saw Shege. I mean I saw Shege, you guys. I saw Shege. I mean, but yeah, these lessons, I'm glad I learned them. I mean, I'm glad I learned them this early, right? So once I started to see all these things, I did take a break around like August to rest and to sleep. I remember I was so tired, I was so overwhelmed, so burnt out, and I was watching anime that day. And my friend had just come back from Abuja. She was like, Kita, how are you? And I just started crying. And I just cried. I cried, cried, cried. I couldn't even stop myself because I was tired. I was like burnt out. I was exhausted. My friends were even trying with their best to like take me out. Yeah, Kita, let's go outside. Let's do this. I was still tired. So it's like I'd carried like bag of cement every day for years. That was how I felt. And I was even looking at the entire thing. I was like, how did I even get myself into this whole ass mess? Because everything had turned so complex. I was like, what is all this? What is all this? So I was burnt out. When she came, I just started crying. I cried, cried. I was like, yeah, let's go and buy shawarma. So I ate. Then I called my mom and I was like, I'm stressed out. Like I'm burnt out. I'm exhausted. I'm losing my shit. I'm losing my marbles. And my mom just came. She came from Lagos and she spent like a week with me. By the time she left, I was already feeling a lot better. She was like, don't worry. This is how business is. Business is crazy. Business is hard. Blah, 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 blah. Um, I guess I guess here's the biggest lesson you can take home from this entire thing is that business is you learning a bunch of skills, right? A lot of skills. Now, you might have one skill and not the other. Let me tell you the skills that I did not have, right? I was a terrible operator. I sucked at operations. Um, I sucked at operation. I was good at marketing. I was good at sales, but I sucked at operations. And I was terrible at finance. I was really terrible at finance. You guys, when I went to business school and I started looking at my notes, I was like, oh. I was terrible at finance. Like I was really, really terrible at figuring out the finances of the business. Because a couple of those mistakes that I made, if I was very on top of my finances, I probably would have seen them coming. When they're like, oh, a business is all about the numbers and such and such. Numbers, numbers, numbers. Yeah, it's really about the numbers. So yeah, so that was a very, very serious mistake that I made, or a skill deficiency that I had. And if I had to go back, I would just be more conscious. I guess I'll be more conscious, and yeah, I'll definitely be more conscious of the financial department of the business, and also the operations side, right? The operations, I even spent like 3 or 4 months just learning how to build better systems on what qualifies as a good system and all of that. Then finance side too, I've been like working on that, taking a bunch of courses also on learning the depths of finances and such. um yeah, what other skill deficiency? Legal. That's a thing, you guys. That's a thing. So that's another part that I'm getting and putting interest in learning all about it. So basically, I just let's just like I just saw I saw my knowledge gap. I saw where I was at as like a business owner. I saw what I could do better, and I was like, okay, stepping into 2020. I even stopped doing marketing. I just paused on the marketing thing. I know I'm good at marketing and sales. So, let's just pause on that for now and figure out all these other parts. So, like in 2026, I guess the major thing I'm going to be focusing on is making sure that that's what I'm trying to do. Look at me. This is Christmas. But you guys know I'm an atheist, so I don't really care much for. It doesn't really move me much. Let me just be honest with you guys. But yeah, so 2026, what I'm looking at doing is becoming much more organized, building a slow lifestyle business. Damn, I'm going to get into another rant about building a slow lifestyle business. So you guys have to listen. So yeah, building a slow lifestyle business in the sense that I don't want to build a business that is so fast that I feel like I can't really look at what is going on, right? Because I was moving so fast, I wasn't getting the chance to think. I slow down everything so I can truly look at my business, so I can look at my business and see what I was doing wrong and what I was doing right. And I can't lie, I won't lie to you, it's one of the best decisions I've made, right? So in 2026, I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm not going to move too fast. We're going to move at a pace where I can look at what is going on within the business and understand it. So going to look at not selling too many things. That is within Kita vibes. So I did have to pause Kitarific. Actually, I had to pause Kitarific so I can like figure things out in the meantime. So yeah, for Kita vibes, only selling 2 products next year. I really don't have power. One of the major things I realized was if you really want to do something really well, You cannot afford to have like too many moving parts, too many products, too many blah blah blah. So it's going to be two major products, but those two major products are going to carry multiple products, right? So, but it's easier to sell if I'm just selling two things. So we're going to be selling the mastermind, which is the mastermind, the monetize your mind mastermind. Ma'am, if you know, you know. If you don't know, let me tell you. Okay, so the mastermind is like my inner circle. It's where I share my business, um, like my business ideas, mistakes, and all of that. It's where I share all my courses, right? I have a bunch of courses, like I don't know, like 20 courses, just documenting how I got to this point in business. So I've been documenting every single thing I've done so far, right, to make money. Every single thing documented, and I teach people there. So I have like consultations, one-on-ones, and group sessions with the people that I teach at the mastermind. So that's one thing we're going to be selling. I'm going to be selling a lot next year. And then we also have the Salesforce community, which is where I'm going to be teaching sales and I'm going to be teaching marketing, but not just sales and marketing. We're going to be teaching like operations, like sales and operations together. Right? Because what I was good at was like sales. But then, towards the end of this, I started learning sales plus ops, marketing plus ops. So making sure that you have like a very efficient system that makes sales and marketing very very easy. That's what we're going to be doing in 2026. And let me tell you guys, I'm super excited, which is why I'm making this video, right? And we're also going to be doing for market. I think that should just be a new video because I feel like this video is already very long. But yeah, so I guess that'll be a new video that will be explaining my whole 2026 and what I plan to do. So I'm gonna see you in my next video. I hope that this particular video was very enlightening, and if it was, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, and share with a friend that needs to see this. And I'm gonna see you. I'm going to see you in the next video. Next video can even be tomorrow. I don't even know. But let's see how that goes. I'll see you guys. Bye.